So let's talk about something very, very interesting and something that's very, very, I dare say, controversial. Namely, this kid named Brooklyn Beckham and what he's currently doing with respect to his parents. Now, if you don't know who his parents are, they're David Beckham, the former British or English football player, and Victoria Beckham, I think her childhood name was Victoria Adams, if I'm not mistaken. The former Spice Girls, or the former Spice Girl, I guess, performance artist. So I don't know if you can call them famous now. I mean, the parents, but surely they used to be famous, very, very famous, way back in the day. I remember it well. And so right now we're seeing, and by the way, I have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. I don't know what this thing is all about. This thing where Brooklyn Beckham, the son of Victoria and David Beckham, is dragging he's appearing to drag their parents in the mud and airing dirty laundry in public exclusively for clout is what I'm guessing. Because just think about it. Think about it like an honest, in earnest, or honestly. If you have a feud in your family, let's say you don't like your father and your mother. Let's say your father and your mother imposed restrictions on you and told you that you may not see that girl, a girl that you're dating. Or you may not do this. You may not go to that club. You may not hang out with that group of friends. You may not do X, Y, and Z. And this aggravates you. You're getting angry. You're getting upset. You're getting frustrated. Would you really air that dirty laundry? Would you really make those discussions that you have? Would you really make those interactions that you have with your mother and your father? Would you really make them public? Would you really want the whole world to know that you and your family are quarreling? That you're arguing? I wouldn't. I would be embarrassed. It would have been awkward. I would feel humiliated if I showed the whole world, how evil my parents were. Now, I don't know the age of Brooklyn Beckham. I think he's in his 20s. He's no teenage kid. This ain't like a 12-year-old who wants to sort of like rebel against his parents and do the grand uprising and so on. Because everyone is going through their teenage years, and everyone is going through sort of like a rebellious streak where mom and dad are evil creatures. They're the worst people on planet Earth. I want to kill myself. I'm going to prove to them that I'm much better than them and blah, blah, blah. All that kind of crap. We all do that. I did it. You did it. Everyone who's watching this, or everyone who's watching, who are listening to this, did it at some point, or felt like doing it at some point. It's normal. It's part of adolescence. It's part of your teens. Your hormones are running amok. That's what's going on. But anyway, when you're in your 20s and you have like a family feud, would you really make it public? Honestly, would you? Would you feel comfortable knowing that you dislike your parents? Or would you feel comfortable undisclosing the texts that go between you and your mother and your father? Now, to my understanding, to my knowledge, or rather, to my non-knowledge, really, because I don't know what all the fuss is all about. I believe I read something about a child being involved. So I don't know, maybe Brooklyn has a child. I don't really know. And quite frankly, I don't really care either, because it's none of my business, and I don't want it to be none of my business. But it's worth studying from a persuasion perspective, because if you're using the fame and the position of your parents just to gain clout, because this is, on the surface level, this is what it appears like. There is no actual benefit to airing the dirty laundry between you and your parents, or unless you stand to make money from it somehow. And if you sort of like want to be anonymous, which surely I would have been, or I would have preferred to be if I were Brooklyn Beckham. But if you're growing up around among celebrities, and your father is a world famous football player, and your mom used to be like one of the most popular pop singers in the world, then obviously it kind of like messes with your head a bit, I guess. Irrespective, this is persuasion, in my opinion, done the wrong way. And by the wrong way, I mean using the perk and benefit that you have in order to disgrace somebody else, just for the clout, just for the attention. This is like these dumbass TikTok streamers or Twitch streamers who say outrageous stuff, who do racial slurs, some of them do Hitler salutes, some of them say dumb shit. Some of these influencers, do you actually see? Because I'm kind of like lumping them together with something else, and that is, do you see those influencers who ran up to Andrei Arlovsky, who is a former UFC heavyweight champion, and to this very day I think is still active. He's one of the oldest fighters, or oldest, I guess, oldest fighters actually. One of the very first fighters to compete in the UFC. And like I said, at one point, I believe he held the UFC heavyweight world title. And in other words, he's a very, very dangerous man, right? Because he's an MMA athlete, and he used to be elite. I think it's fair to say that he's not elite anymore, but that doesn't mean that he's good. And it surely doesn't mean that he can't fight. You don't run up to Andrei Arlovsky and start a fight, because that's what these retard influencer kids did, all for the sake of clout and attention. And that's precisely what I'm seeing here with Brooklyn Beckham. I just don't understand why he's gaining other than putting his name, making his name famous by disgracing his parents. Again, I'm not accusing him of anything because I don't know what's going on here. I'm just letting you know that this is persuasion done, in my opinion, the wrong way. So-called dark persuasion. Don't do it. Do something productive. Do something that's fruitful. And if you want to learn more about persuasion and how you can use it to make energy transfers and also make more sales and become successful, then get subscribed to my email list. The link to do so is in the episode description wherever you are watching and or listening to this. And I'll see you there. Bye-bye now.